Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Building Leaders Within the Compensation Plan. Please take your seats and give a round of applause for exclusive Black Status Presenter Level 2 and Wall of Influence Achiever, Whitney Husband.
Hi! Okay, we're gonna try to sit and not mess this up. So, are y'all excited? I'm about to do something that I have never done before. There has never been an hour-long presentation over how I build leaders. So, here we go. I don't usually speak from notes, but I really did not want to leave any steps or details out for y'all today. So we have it. I'm gonna stay on track, and hopefully, I talk really fast, so hopefully we're gonna have a Q&A. I really suggest you take out your pen and paper. Like I said, I'm gonna go through the steps fast, and you're gonna wanna write these down. And if there's something that you have a question about or whatever, just mark a question, and I will try to get to those whenever we are finished. You ready? Okay, oh, I forgot. Who did their homework? Some of you. Good. Awesome. You're going to have to do your homework whenever you leave here before you can start this. So, I want to teach my building blocks. I have never taught them. I've made a couple videos, not extremely detailed. So, we are going to have details and extent on exactly how you can take this training home and implement it into your business as soon as you leave here. So, basically, Derek created our comp plan. He was building software for network marketing companies. He was behind the scenes. He helped build tons of compensation plans and things like that. And when he made our comp plan, he knew that he wanted to reward people that helped other people become leaders. And that is the 100% the only way in this business to build a long-term residential income with a strong foundation. So, there are going to be a little different ways for each of you. So some of you are yellow status maybe. Do we have any white status in here? Yellows? A couple yellows, some pinks, some blues, some greens, some oranges, purple, black? Okay, so this is gonna be kind of different for each of you. As a pink status, you're actually going to take this training and probably try to help one or two people implement it and get it going. If you're blue status and you're working on green status, this is going to be something that you're going to take a handful of people and you're going to start this training with. If you're green status and you're ready to go orange, you are going to take this training and you are going to find your prospective green, and you're going to do this with her and help her develop in her downline so she can become a green status. And then orange, purple, and black, you're going to do that continuously to build your business wide. We go wide in this business, right? So, the width and the depth, there's a balance. I know they both come. For me, early on, I had built a lot of leaders, but I didn't have a lot of depth. And I could tell that was holding me back for, getting to the next rank, things like that, the goals that I had. And so I actually did this system on my own, had no idea what I was doing, and I actually did it underneath my first generations to build up second generations so that my business could start having more depth. And I did it for 90 days. And in 90 days, my income doubled. And it was because I spent 90 days literally helping these other people build their business so they could become leaders. So I want you to think about it both ways. Everyone's business is different. Some of you need to build your circle. For me, I do this now in my circle almost always to keep my circle going wide and I can build more leaders. But sometimes it's going to be building a little bit deeper. You know, you have to figure out what the balance is for you and for your team. So back then when I started doing this, I had no idea what I was doing. I did this for 90 days, and then I read the book, How to Build Network Marketing Leaders by Big Al. That's one of your homeworks. That's one of the things you're going to have to read before you can implement this. And 2 months later, I went to a very private training with Eric Worre, and he talked about this system called building blocks. And I was like, what? And he broke it down for me, and he explained to me into detail how I could take what I had just done, and I could actually duplicate it and teach it to other people. So, how do we do this? It starts first with your foundation rank. And before I learned from him what foundation rank was, and then when he told me what foundation rank was, I had to actually figure out what is the foundation rank in unique. And a lot of people will say blue or green. And I thought that too. But it's actually pink. And when you think about it, we can recruit people and we can get them to yellow, in my opinion, pretty easily. Yellow can happen. We can do our virtual parties. They can get $1,000 in sales. But if we get somebody to pink, which is a lot harder. But if somebody gets to pink, pretty much usually, unless they quit working their business, they're going to go blue. But getting them from yellow to pink, there's a huge gap there. And this system actually bridges that gap. So when you can actually build girls that are yellow and build them to pink in your organization, more than likely they're going to be able to continue to do that, which is duplication, simplified. So pink is always going to be your foundation rank. That's why I was saying, if you're pink, now you're going to take these things that we're talking about and you're going to implement them into your own business, or if you're wanting to be pink. If you're pink and you're wanting to go blue, you're going to help someone in your team, or maybe two people, do this also. And that's going to help you get to blue. And then from blue, you're going to have to help a few more. 4 pinks is 8,000, and your sales, and a couple yellows, and you're green. And then if you're green, that's where you're going to step in and you're going to actually help someone who is probably a blue or something like that, or who's close to blue. And you're going to actually help her do this with a few people under her so she can get herself to green, which is going to ultimately help you get to orange. And you continue to do that. Y'all follow me here? Like, this is literally how I have built my business, one after the other. So always remember that your foundation rank is pink. And when you're deciding who this is going to be, that's why I want you to read that book, because it's going to help you figure out who is ready, who is willing, and that's going to give you the opportunity to reach out to them. And it's super simple. You're going to make your list of who you want to reach out to. It could be your personally sponsored. It could be someone within your circle. Like I said again, it could be somebody under your first gen. Whatever it may be, you're going to decide who you're going to reach out to. And you're probably not going to reach out to 30 people. We're talking about a handful of people your first time. And you're going to message them, and you're going to say, hey, I'm starting this new training. It's to help a few of you get to pink status this in the next 30 days. Is that something that you're willing to do? And they're going to tell you yes or no. And they tell you yes, you say great, you're going to give them a task. Again, in the book is going to teach you how to give those tasks. It's up to you what you want to do. Usually for me, it's Read Go Pro or something like that. When I first started, it was this crazy long quiz. Any of you were in here that took the quiz? There's a couple that did the quiz, really a nuisance, annoying quiz. That was, yeah. And it was actually kind of hard, but it was really simple. It was so simple, but it was actually kind of hard. And they took a quiz, and they had to send me back the answers, and I checked it and told them what was right or wrong, but they finished the quiz and they got in. You give them a book to read. Hey, you have to obviously read the book. Hey, I'm gonna call you on Thursday and we're gonna discuss what you just read. If they didn't read that book or they didn't do that quiz, you don't feel sorry for them. They don't get to come into the training. They're not ready. You're doing this with people who are ready to build their business. So we do that, we go through that, and some people are going to tell you, no, I'm not ready. I have whatever going on this month. I don't have time. I can't do it, blah, blah, blah. Fine, that's great. I will contact you in 30 days. You can continue to ask them. You can follow up every 30 days, just like you do with your customers. But do not bring people into this training that are not ready. It's discouraging. And that's not what I want you to spend your time on. I want you to spend time with people that are ready to build their business. So we kind of go through that. I usually say give like a week in advance before you're going to actually start the training with this. And you may end up with 1 or 2 people, literally. And from there, you get to decide. Do you want to put it in a group chat, in a Facebook group? Do you want to do a Voxer message? Really, it's up to you how you decide that you want to interact with these women. You need to tell them, we're going to have tasks, we're going to have a training, it's going to be fun, I'm going to help you, but you have to participate. You've got to stay with me. You've got to stay with me for 30 days. And you're going to work with them every single day. Now, this is where everyone always gets stumped and gives up on me in this training. You have to give them tasks every day. You can do a big task once a week, whatever it might be, small tasks daily. Every task that you give needs to have some sort of answer. Sometimes it's a video. I want you to watch this video, give me a few sentences of what you took from it. Or it's a big task, and it's like maybe, I think one of the good ones I like to start out with is, what is their why? That's a great one to break the ice, start out. And when they do that, you're going to ask them to either make a video or make a post. They need to show it to the group. Ask them to post it on their walls, things like that. And I actually keep checklists. And every task that they complete, I'll mark off. And if I start seeing that they're not doing their task, they don't get to stay. They're not ready. And we're working with those that are ready. So I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, like, what task, what do I do? And I thought this morning was perfect when she was talking about it's not the mountains, it's the pebbles, or what was it? It's not the mountains, it's the pebbles that trip us. You can't trip over a mountain. What's going to happen here is a lot of people get so hung up on, what do I do for the task? And they won't actually go and do this training. But you've been pink status. Most of you have been pink status before. And if you actually sat down and you thought about it, what did I do to get to pink status? What was I doing on a daily basis? How many people were you messaging? What were you saying to them? Actually give these girls examples. How many parties were you hosting? How do we host a party? How much extra training did you watch or read or whatever it may be? So it's things like that that you have to sit back and remember. I used to have a task list, and every month, I do something different. I do what I feel. And as you continue to do this process, you're going to be like, okay, well, they didn't respond well to that task, so I'm probably not going to do that task anymore. You may try it in a few months. But you'll actually, add something else. Or there's new videos that are going to come out. Or, we went from making videos to Facebook Live. I mean, it's, things switch in Facebook and things like that. And so make sure that you don't get hung up on these tasks and things that they need to be doing. Just understand that the whole point of this training is that you are able to communicate with them on a daily basis, that you are making them feel special, that you told them you can be pink in 30 days, that's going to make them believe in themselves, because they probably didn't know that they could be pink in 30 days. But their upline that they look out to just reached out to them and said, hey, you can do this. Do you want to do this with me? And when you do that and you give them that time, people are going to respect that, and they're going to work harder for you. So just please, like when you're doing those tasks and things like that, and I know that there have been some task files that have gone around. I actually looked before I said this, so I would make sure I wasn't lying, but there actually are some files in the black group that you could ask your black status to go get. They are labeled by color. Before we had like really distinguished that pink needs to be the building block, so it says different colors, but it doesn't matter, it's still all task. So you could ask your black status to get those. They all have access to it, things like that. Y'all keeping up with me? Okay, so back to why we do this. When you are helping these girls get to pink, ultimately what is going to happen is you're going to build a green status. But at the same time, they're going to remember that you did that with them, and they're also going to remember that it worked, and then they are going to teach it too, and they're going to hopefully adopt this into their business. And people always ask, I don't understand duplication. What does duplication mean? And that is what duplication is. It's so simple. It's you teach someone something, and hopefully they catch on and they teach it to someone else. So kind of how I started it on my own first, and then I started teaching others how to do it. So that's really what I recommend, especially if you are a purple or black status leader, to not go in and throw it on your team and try to get them all to do it at one time. I would actually take it for 30 days, because you're here, you learned, you heard, and you apply that to your business. You see what worked, what didn't work for you. You have to do it for 60 days until you really catch on. And then you're going to be able to start helping and teaching someone else how to do it, pretty much. I told you I'll talk so fast. Okay, so another part of it is the training and support. This is a really big part. So you're doing your daily task, you're doing your daily interaction, and things like that, but you have to support them on a more intense level. So weekly calls, weekly Zooms, webinars. It's a webinar as long as they can get on too. Something where it's interactive, where they can actually communicate with you. You could assign the homework, have the homework be brought to the meeting, things like that. That way that you're getting that interaction with them, and you're making sure that they're staying on top of it. And we all know that the more consistent you are in your business, the better off you're going to be. And that's what you're doing. That's what you're teaching them to do. So you've got it all set up. You know how it works. It's simple, right? Isn't it simple? You can't just do it for 30 days. As a leader, this is the best use of your time. The best use of your time. It is not time extensive. It's going to give you time to work on your business so that you can go and get your sales and still be able to recruit and still party. And then you're actually helping multiple people at one time, and you're not having to do this individually. And it really doesn't, it's only 20, 30 minutes a day. So you have to understand that it's the best use of your time, but it's something that you're going to have to continue to do. You're going to have to do it for 30, 60, 90 days. If you started it on September 1st and you went through November 30th, you're going to have a big change. You're going to have people go pink that first month, If they don't, they want to stay in it, that's fine. That's up to you to decide how you want to do that. Add new people in the next month and the next month. It could be new people that you brought in. It could be people under. A lot of times I've done, okay, well, so-and-so went pink. She gets to come out, and now I get to bring someone that's under her. I'll ask her, who do you feel like on your team is ready for this? And I'll look at their back office and look at their Facebook and decide, yeah, they are ready. And so I'll bring someone under her team. That way she can go continue to build her business, and then I can kind of help her and support her in having someone else in her team build up, and we continue to do that over and over and over. So that's about it. I told you I was like super fast, and I want to do. Can y'all bring me the mic? Oh, you got it? Okay. This is your chance. Y'all have 35, 40 minutes to ask questions.
What are some of the things you look for to determine if they're ready or not?
That's a big reason why I do recommend. I'm losing this on the back of me. That I recommend the book, because Big Al actually breaks it down into step by step of what to look for. He explains a lot of times what we will feel is someone is a leader, but then he explains that is not what's my. And it's not that they can't be a leader yet. They're just not ready. Yeah, there's a difference. Yeah, the distributor and the leader mindset. And so that's really, really important. And it's like a 2-hour read. It's so quick. So I would really do that if you have never read that book. I think almost every single one of my leaders have read it. It's critical in this business.
What do you train the rest of your team on while you're focusing on this small handful of girls during that 30 days?
I do all of my training through Facebook groups. So I have a circle group and a team group. My videos, I share videos, Facebook Lives, party content, sponsoring content, sales content, product education. Yeah, I'm usually like once or twice a day on my on what I'm putting with them into my groups. It just depends. I mean, sometimes I'm busier than others. It really just depends.
Okay, so you said a task every day, and obviously they need to get the PRS, and their team needs to get the volume they need for them to promote. So are those tasks like, how much of them are like income producing, or like, you know what I mean? Like where do we get the sales for them to get the numbers to get to promoting?
So pretty much someone that I would bring into this is actively selling. So the month before she's sold 250, 500, whatever a month, the month before. So it's not going to be somebody that was sitting at zero, unless they were brand new. That would be totally different. But yes, income producing tasks are extremely important. I actually focus a lot of my business on that. So that's why I was saying the messaging, messaging X amount of friends a day, but giving them the message that they need to send, or that will help them. And I actually ask the girls for suggestions. A lot of times these trainings that I have done have turned out so good. Like Carrie back here, she's in one of them that is no longer a building blocks for me. There's like 5 or 6 blues in there, and oh my God, they are. Oh, that gives me chills. I don't even hardly answer anymore. Like I literally do not answer what they're. I read what they're saying and I close it out, because they have adopted it to themselves. They became a group together. They're all personals to me, except for 1 or 2. They're under somebody else, so they're all in my circle. So they're all sidelines. None of them are under each other. And they will share, I posted this on my wall today, I got all this interaction. I made this video today, I got all this interaction. I sent this message to whoever, 10 people today, and they'll give each other the exact wording. And so I really encourage that. I do encourage that within those groups, that you help each other too. I can give you something, but if you're doing something or you've done something that works, please share. And so, but I do like to give it detailed, especially, at a yellow status level. most of them have never worked a business like this before, and they do need a word for word. Tell them to tweak it, makes it comfortable for them, but there's tons of things like that out there.
Hey, you said that you change your tasks up every month depending on what works and what does not work. What would be like your top go-to tasks that you know that you're always going to do in a month?
The why, messaging the customer, or messaging prospects, people, cold messaging, making sure their launch party is set up and going, encouraging them to do videos. I actually had a girl the other day, and one of their tasks was a video, and she was pretty new, and she was like, I'm gonna have to leave this chat. I can't do this. I can't do a video. And so normally sometimes I'm kind of harsh, and I'm like, fine, whatever. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But I actually that day, for some reason, something came over me. I think it's being pregnant, I don't know. Something came over me, and I was like, you know what? I really don't want you to give up on me just because you're scared of making a video. I was scared of making videos. I still get scared of making videos. There's other girls in here that are terrified to make videos that just made them. And I just kept talking to her and tell her, like, will you just try? And she's like, well, I will. I'll do it, and I'll watch it and see if I don't like it. And I said, well, can you do me one favor? And she said, sure. I said, instead of you judging it, will you let me judge it? And you can send it to me privately. And you let me decide if you should use it or not. And that's what she did, and she did it, and she posted it on her wall. So just things like that. I mean, you know, the book sale sponsor. If you can stay around book sale sponsor, anything like that is going to be really good task.
Whitney, how do you build leaders at the same time that you're building yourself and trying to increase and keep up with your own PRS when you are working a full-time job and things on the side? How do you do that when there's only so much time in the day?
That's why I really actually love this system, because what status are you? Green status? Okay. So you're trying to build a leader for the first time. So with this system, you can decide who your next leader is going to be. Who's ready? And you're going to go to her and talk to her, and you and her are going to decide together who she has that would be able to come into a building blocks training for pink status. And then you and her could do this training together for 30 days. And like I said, it's 20 to 30 minutes a day. It's really not that much extra time. And then obviously for your own sales, making sure you have your VIP, making sure you're posting in it daily, those things don't take much time. They truly don't. And then your recruiting. I mean, recruiting is send 10 messages a day to people on your friends list, add people on Facebook to continue to grow your list. I mean, I truly don't think that those things take a lot of time if you just go and do that and you don't waste time scrolling on Facebook and doing those non-income producing activities.
Okay, I have two questions.
Yes, ma'am.
First one is, do you find that a group chat or like an actual group works better for this? And then the second one is, do you keep up with their progress every month? So like if mid-month you see that they're not on track to make pink, do you keep them in there and keep working with them? Or at that point are they like just out and you go back to them later?
So as for group chats and Facebook groups, if you just had 2 or 3 people, I would say a group chat's probably going to be good. If you had more than 5, I would probably go into a Facebook group, just because when you are asking them to give these tasks, for example, their why or a video or something like that, they're going to actually be able to post it in there, and it doesn't get so jumbled, whereas a group chat can get way out of hand. And your second question, I forget, I'm pregnant, you'll have to tell me.
Do you keep them in the group mid-month?
Oh, yeah. I would never kick anybody out unless they were not doing their task. I mean, I have seen people come into this business on the 15th of the month and get pink by the end of the month. When I started and now, it still happens. And so, no, I would never kick anyone. And I think that would be extremely discouraging. However, if they are not participating, and a lot of times I will warn them. I will say, hey, you haven't done your task. You have until whatever time to get it done. And if you've warned them and they're not doing it, then yeah, I usually tell them you're going to have to leave, you're going to have to leave the whatever if you're not going to participate, because it's not fair to those that are.
Hi, I've never really actually gotten this question answered properly, so it might be a silly question to some. On my team, I have one of my elites, and a lot of her girls are more motivated to do some stuff than maybe the rest of my team does. But I work with all of them consistently. Should I still be consistently working with all of her team? Like, they're part of mine, but she's got more girls that have the motivation to want to do more than some of my other girls. What would you suggest?
I definitely suggest working with the willing. And at the same time, I think I would spend some time trying to work on your own recruits and examining, what expectations are you giving to your recruits? Are you telling them, like, all you got to do is take selfies and post on Facebook and you're going to get paid? Or are you actually telling them, hey, this is a business and you're going to have to work, but if you will work and if you're willing to be coachable, you kind of have to examine what you're doing there. But I would spend my time where those that are willing, because like I said, the depth and the width are going to happen. The width is extremely important for how our comp plan is set up. But as for the depth, I believe that it's an insurance policy. And just because maybe, you may be green status or maybe you're orange status and you have built a few levels of generations of elites deeper down, and sometimes that third generation is working a lot harder than your first or your second, and you're orange or you're purple and you're not getting the income off of it. But at the same time, it's still there and it's not going anywhere. And as long as you follow the system and you do work on building yourself wide, it's going to happen. You will get there. You will get to black. You will get that third gen pay. So I really, balance it, but I would never let go of the ones that are willing. And also because for me, a lot of the times the things I learn come from those on my team. And had I stopped working with my black statuses because they're black and they don't need me, I wouldn't learn all these things that I learn. So I wouldn't stop.
Okay, I have two questions
Yes,
too.
ma'am.
I was wondering if you have a similar system for new presenter training. And also, I know you're like the guru of mapping. When you introduce that, if it is like pink level or a certain level, you think we should be telling them like how to map their teams?
I don't know why I love mapping. I didn't even think about that. I knew I should have called Carly last night whenever I was writing all this to ask her make sure I didn't leave anything off. See, that's what I get. Actually, that is one of the things I do at the beginning of any kind of training. Not necessarily yellow, but at a pink, blue, or green, orange, purple, black, I actually do ask everyone to map out their month. That helps a lot, especially somebody that's working for pink or blue, to help her decipher who needs what volume, and for her to keep track of that throughout the month. So I definitely encourage that. Was that all the question? I feel like there was something else. New presenter training. Have you heard of Start Strong? No. Y'all have? Some y'all have? A couple leaders did a Start Strong. I think there's some stuff floating around. Basically, it was just a new presenter training. It was the launch party, the why, making a video was a good one. Setting up a couple of customer-hosted parties once they get their launch party going, getting qualified with their 125 PRS that month, making a list of 5-10 people that they know that would support them in their business, reaching out to them, things like that. Yeah, I do a Start Strong training. It's not, I don't do it within this or this in this format, but we definitely do that. And if you do it in a format, for us, we've been doing it in Facebook events. And I did it within my team group, and that way that content is always there, and you can actually just send that to a new presenter, and she can go back and go through it. Or you can just hand feed it every few days. It's up to you and the amount of time you have in your business.
What is your advice on getting your greens and oranges to spread their wings?
Believe in them is one thing. Sometimes people just need that extra help. They need that extra encouragement. They're not ready yet, and that is one of the reasons why I do this training, because I can actually go do that with a green or with an orange and help her feel confident that she can also do this. And I feel like the more you believe in somebody, the more time you give them, the more you help them, they're going to believe themselves and spread their wings.
Hi there, Whitney.
Hi.
What advice would you give a yellow status who's making all the right noises, doing all the tasks, she's putting herself out there, she's going for no, and she's just getting... I got a message today from a girl and she was just down. She's been doing it 4 months, she's out there, she's even training in our black status group. She's so positive and she's like, I'm just getting more no's, what else can I do? And I've got nothing to say now because she does everything. She reads everything, she listens, she takes advice. What would you tell her?
First of all, everyone's journey is their own. Everyone's different. I mean, everyone's time is different. Some people it takes a month, some people it takes a year. Some people it takes longer than that. As your leader, you could definitely examine what is she doing to make sure, looking in her virtual party, what is she posting in there? What is she using her own pictures, her own videos? If she is saying that she is messaging X amount of people, unless she's shown that to you, I would ask, because a lot of people will say I'm doing it all, but and it can look like it from the outside, but when you actually examine what they're doing, are they actually sending the messages? Are they actually contacting people? Everyone's warm market is different. Some people's warm market sucks. It really does. And it could have been through years of, maybe they had a different mindset and, negative brings negative. I don't know. It could be anything. But to make sure that she's growing her warm market, so adding people on Facebook every day. Is she getting out in public, meeting people, adding them to Facebook? Is she hosting virtual parties so that she can meet, her hostesses, friends and things like that? So I would just examine into that, and if all things are right and all things are positive, just stay with her. Sometimes people will literally go from like yellow to blue or pink to green, and they might have been pink for forever, and then something just happens and it's their time. Everyone's journey is truly their own.
Hi, Whitney.
Hi.
Just a quick one. Building block groups that you do you just purely do them for pinks, or do you work your way up to elites as well? Or is it something you've tried?
So I have tried the different ways, and that is why I was trying to explain that pink is our status, because there is that gap, and that's what I really want to explain to people, is that getting to yellow happens. We have a lot of yellows, but getting past that, it's a lot less. And if someone gets to pink, more than likely they're going to get to blue, and if they get to blue, as long as they continue to work, they're going to get to green. But that gap between yellow and pink is huge, and this system truly bridges that gap. And that's why I was saying that, if you are blue and you are trying to get to green, not to do a blue building blocks, but to actually do a pink building blocks where you're helping a handful of people get to pink that month, and that's going to give that volume for that person to get to green. You're welcome. And it's going to be consistent for you. When you continue to do the same one over and over, you don't want to mix it all up. It gets crazy.
Hi, Whitney.
Hi.
Okay, so being a yellow status presenter and then going straight to pink, I've been kind of stuck at yellow for a few months. So what would you say is the main foundation that you focus on? More sales, more parties, more sponsoring?
You want to mix. So I truly believe that recruiting comes from sponsoring in our business. Our customers love our products, and if you can get your hands into your customer's product, your hands in your customer's product. If you can get your product into your customer's hand and you can follow up with her, and you follow up with her properly, which for me is a mountain of success. So you followed up with her. She loved her products. If she had an issue, you should troubleshoot, get that taken care of, get her happy. Do not run away from her if she's not happy. Please help them, okay? Do not feel like this is never going to happen if they were not happy about something, because I've actually had people that hated something and actually ended up signing up and being amazing because I helped them work through it. And once she loves everything, whatever, you go through all that with her, and then mountain of success would be offering her the opportunity. If she says no, then offering her to host the party for you. Again, if she says no, then just offering, or ask for the referral. So either asking her to post on her Facebook of whatever she loved, and tagging you. Ask her to tell a couple people. It's really unlikely that a woman will tell you no 3 times in a row. So as long as you're selling your products and you're doing your follow-up system and you are hosting parties and you're meeting people, the recruits are going to come. Just make sure you're keeping a balance and you're engaging in both aspects, and it will happen.
Hi. So I'm a yellow status presenter, and I had built up a team and fell just shy of pink, and then my whole team disappeared. So I'm in the process of rebuilding. So I was wondering what kind of tasks you would recommend that I implement for myself to meet so that I can grasp your concept before I build and share it with everybody else.
That's actually, I'm glad you're here and you asked that, because I think that's really important for this too, because it can be used both ways. So you could ask, I don't know your relationship with your sponsor, who your sponsor is, or your upline elite. You could ask your upline elite or your black status, hey, can you give me some challenges? You could ask. I'm sure I would have no problem giving somebody a task if they were begging for them. Let me make you work. So, asking if someone can give you a task and things that they can think of. But as yourself, you're motivated, you're here at convention, that's a huge step. So I feel like you're probably pretty self-motivated on your own. Messaging X amount of people a day. Set a number for yourself and message them. Set up a follow-up schedule for yourself. Make sure you're following up with your customers. And go back to the beginning. There was a time where I was too busy and I didn't follow up. And I actually one day was like, I can still go talk to them. Yeah, I may not have followed up, but this is a very forgiving business. And go back through and start following up with all those people and talking to them. Build your network and just continue to do the task and learn and get yourself to pink, recruit, help your people get to yellow, and then it'll happen.
Hi, Whitney. I'm in your 4th gen. Thank you so much for all the training you give us. It's fantastic.
You're welcome.
I've got some girls on. I message them. It used to be every month, but I would ask them, hey, girl, what are you after this month? What do you want to set yourself the goal? What are you trying to achieve? Crickets. And this is private. This is a one-on-one message. I'm not asking them to reveal that to like 7 or 10 others. It's private. Nothing. So then I ask, a month later or maybe 45 days later, nothing. How many times, and they still post every now and again and they still comment every now and again, but how many times would you ask that same question? And it seems like they're trying to want to kind of do something, but then they don't answer you when you ask them that personal question.
Have you ever thought about switching it? Instead of asking them what they want, that's where it goes back to believing in someone else and saying, hey girl, you're doing a great job. I saw you recruited so-and-so, or you had X amount of sales last month. I really think that you could get to yellow status, or I think you could get to pink status. What do you think about working together and let's building your business to that? So turning that around, I think you might get a lot better response out of people that way.
I just wanted to know what you do with your new presenters the first 24 to 48 hours. What type of questions do you ask them to find out where they want to go in their business?
Well, everyone's different. Some people are, it is important to find out, are they a kidnapper, are they not? Really what I do is I just send them a welcome message and I add them to the training groups, welcome them to the groups, and I ask them to get familiar with that. Ask them to look over the resources. You could send them a welcome video. maybe your upline has a welcome video, anything like that, just something to get them engaged and get their launch party going. But another really good thing is to just make sure you get on the phone with them as soon as possible and just talk to them, ask them what their why is, why do they want to do this business, and talk to them about Yellow and Fast Start. Does that help? Yeah. Just show them that you care.
Hi, Whitney. I'm
Hi.
in your fourth line, and I'm your hugest fan. So nervous. One of the tasks I try to do every day is to add 5 new people to my friends list, like from what Facebook recommends for me. But then I'm not sure what to do next. Like, do I message them and say, hey, I'm a friend of your friend Christine's, what's up? Or do I just let them like see my Facebook feed? Like, can you give me some words or some advice?
Yeah. Is Raina, anybody, no, Raina's not in here. Anybody under Raina in here? Yeah. Okay. What, y'all know her thing? Her 2030, whatever it is? I already forgot. So when you are doing that and you are adding people to Facebook, I would, and if that is your goal, is to add them so that you can start communicating with them, I would make a list, and you can spend 10, 15 minutes a day making sure you go to their page, liking on their posts, commenting on their posts, things like that. If you're engaging in their stuff, it's going to put them, or your stuff is going to go into their news feed, and as long as you're being positive, you're branding yourself, you're giving value online, and you're actually posting every day, they're going to see your content. So I would build that relationship there first. I'm not a big, hey, message random people, unless you're already friends with them kind of thing. So, yeah, you're welcome.
Hi. What do you do with these girls and these groups at the end of the 30 days? Do you move them into the next status building block group? Do you keep that group open and use it over, or do you open new groups?
It just depends. You can open, it's up to you and how you want to work, but there's not a next status building block. That's why I was saying, you helped someone get to pink that month. She got to pink. You obviously are going to make a huge deal about it within the group, on your Facebook, whatever, whatever you decide to give to her, as congratulations. And then I would actually talk to her and see if there's someone under her that she would like you to work with to help to get to pink. And obviously she's going to continue to, build her business and work with that person. But no, you're not going to really move her on to anything else. That's why I said I did have a chat with this one group of girls, and they're just unicorns, and they have just been amazing. And I actually left theirs, but I don't normally leave them like that. And it happens. It'll happen. I mean, you have girls that'll become best friends, and you're like, I can't separate. All y'all are doing too good, But usually, you would end it some sort of way and start it over every month.
Hello.
Hi.
I was just wondering what would be your top tips for recruiting and sponsoring?
Back to what I told her about the sales. The sales and the following up, for me, that's huge. It's most of I keep running out of customers because they keep signing up, and it's a good thing. So that's truly what I do.
Hi, Whitney.
Hi.
How do you be a sponsor and not a boss? Since it's their own business, I don't want them to think she's ordering me around,
For me, I think I learned that a lot of that was through personal development and time. There's a lot of professionals out there who have made books and videos on what is the difference. Just assessing your tone and how you are giving something in this system. I don't feel like I come off as a boss because I've actually said, hey, I'm doing something special. Do you want to be a part of it? And most people are going to respect that. Now, if you're like, hey, I'm starting this training and you have to do it, that would kind of be bossy. Just kind of assessing your tone and how you invite others into this, and personal development's huge in this business.
How do you incorporate incentives into your building blocks group or with your team?
You could totally do incentives within this. You can have prizes. You could have, for the week, you could have a challenge of some sort. You could have a whoever gets the pink first in the thing. I'm not a big group incentive because I don't feel like it's very encouraging just to give incentives all the time. But within this training, it's a great thing to do if that's something you want to do. It doesn't have to be a gift. It could be a person, it could be a challenge for a 30-minute coaching call with you, or you could ask, your elite, I'm doing this special training. If, I'm going to have a challenge, whoever wins it, can she have 15 minutes with you? It could be anything, something like that. But to make it special, it doesn't have to be an actual gift.
In terms of what you look for to be in the pink group, I read the book and I understand, but as it pertains to Unique specifically, how much PRS do you look for in order to know that they're ready?
250, 500, that they're doing something, Okay. If they're selling a couple $100, they're doing something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And congratulations.
Thank you. We have 3 minutes. Huh? Yeah, you can do the last one.
Hi, my question is about mapping, and I've heard the term thrown around. I've kind of watched some trainings that don't quite nail it for me. Like, I get the concept that you're getting a name, what you want them to achieve in order for you to hit a status, but at what point does that trickle down? How do you inspire those people? Do you individually reach out to them? What's once the map is made, what do you do with it?
That's just a part of your training, Obviously, if you're mapping, and you do pick up something for someone, that's your goal for her, you want to talk to her and make sure that y'all are on the same page. Some might actually have a bigger goal, and she might tell you, and some may not have that desire. You have to make sure that y'all are on the same page there as for what her goals are for the month. But I think one of the biggest things is that whenever you are mapping and you are telling your teammates, giving the goals or whatever, you're making sure that you're not coming off as it's selfish and it's just for you. That happens a lot in this business, and make sure you're coming off as a way that you are trying to help them and you are trying to give them goals that are going to help them succeed. And when you continue to do that month after month and you actually continue to help others, and you're not being selfish about it, your own goals will happen. They'll happen literally on their own. So I just would be really careful there in how you're doing it, but make sure that y'all are on the same page. Yeah. We good? Woohoo! You're welcome. Bye, y'all.